So if you've been keeping up with Games Fest, which I believe it's called, you'd know that there's been a new Star Wars game announced. It is a RPG single-player, third-person story action game sort of thing, and it's I think I said it was open world, but yeah, it seems like it's like the first sort of large-scale Star Wars game we've gotten in a while. Dare I say, at all. This is going to be a very casual video, by the way, just sort of getting back into video making, so bear with me. But yeah, so it's called Star Wars Outlaws, and we've got a female protagonist. I will just quickly look at her name. Her name is Kay Vess, and she's got like a little axolotl dog thing. And it looks like an interesting game. There's been a little bit of backlash just because it is a female protagonist. And look, my standpoint on it is, I don't think the gender of a protagonist can really affect the story negatively. Just from what we saw in the little gameplay trailer, or let's say little, it was quite long, about 10 minutes. That'll be playing in the background there. From what we saw, she did not seem like an insufferable character by any means. I think she's going to be like a pretty cool character, and the reason I mention insufferable is because we've recently had games with female leads, such as Forspoken, Exhibit A, and Marvel's Avengers, Exhibit B, where there was a lot of controversy around those characters. The lead character, we had Miss Marvel, and I believe her name's Frey or Freya or something like that. And yeah, people did not like those characters. They were very annoying. But yeah, I don't know. This Kay Vess character seems pretty cool, and I think we'll, like, I don't know. We'll see as more comes out, but I think it'll be an enjoyable game. Seems like a cool character, and there might be stuff to learn about her, which is interesting. So I've just got some little notes here that I'll just go through and just tell you about some little facts and stuff about the game. So, as I said initially, it's an open world game. I couldn't find any info on the size of the world / the number of planets. I would like to assume as an open world game you'd probably be able to explore a large area of each planet and then have multiple planets, but it's kind of unclear. I doubt we'll be able to explore an entire planet. That seems a little bit excessive. So I have a feeling it'll probably just be a little area similar to sort of Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, in the fact that in the sense you go to all these different planets and there's a large area. So look, if I'm optimistic, I'd like to say maybe if you've played Jedi Survivor, one of the hub worlds on there is the Kobo planet. And I would like to think that most of the planets that you were to go to in this Star Wars Outlaws game will probably be around that size, if not a little bit bigger. I feel like if you're going to call something an open world Star Wars game, you know, it needs to be open and big like that. So hopefully we don't get like a bunch of planets, but then most of them are just really linear. I really hope that isn't the case, because I feel like in Jedi Survivor there was a little bit of that going on. But touche, whatever that word means. Character customization as well, if I go back to having the fixed female protagonist. I know that's another thing that's a little bit annoying, that people won't be able to sort of play as themselves, and look, I get that as well. That's another reason to sort of be annoyed. But look, at the end of the day, that's not just because it's a female protagonist, it's because that's just the set character. Like, you can't really be angry at the game because it's a female protagonist. But anyways, I would hope that we can probably change her like clothes and stuff like that. She sort of had like a kind of, I don't know how you'd really describe it. It was like a bomber jacket sort of thing in the trailer, some like cool pants and stuff. So I imagine we can probably sort of change the outfits, I would think. There's also a droid with us. He was like a assassin droid sort of thing. I would imagine maybe we can customize him as well. And there's also a little axolotl dog thing. I believe its name was Nix. I'm not sure. That's all I could sort of hear from the trailer there. But yeah, I would maybe think we could probably customize all of them. It may be really limited, it may not be. We'll just have to see. You can probably do hairstyles as well. As for the third-person shooting, we do see a little bit of that in the trailer. I'll make sure that the video syncs up with what I'm talking about as well. So it looks like we've got the ability to switch like gun modes. I believe there was like a focused, a standard one, and like a stun. So it looks like there's a scene in the trailer where there's like a person with a shield, and I believe it's one of the Pikes, one of the crime syndicates, and then the player switches to like a focused sort of blue laser blast thing, which doesn't seem to have that much sort of accuracy maybe, but it can sort of I don't know, might be a little bit more powerful. The crosshair sort of like expanded a little bit. Don't know too much about that. But yeah, you can sort of switch different gun modes, which kind of reminded me of the Guardians of the Galaxy game. If you've seen any of that, I haven't played it myself, but I am aware that you can switch to like the different elements and stuff to deal with different enemies. So I think that is pretty good, keeps you on your toes. I don't think we can maybe pick our own gun just from the vibe I got in the trailer. She had like the same pistol the entire time, and there was a scene in which you can use the dog, or we'll call it Nyx by its name. You were able to use that to go and get a gun for you. There's like a gun laying around in the battlefield, and then the little dog thing gets sent and picks it up and brings it back. And it looks like the player is able to use that gun for a limited amount of time. It looks like it was like an assault rifle sort of thing. They could use it until it sort of ran out of ammo, and then they sort of just like tossed it away. So I have a feeling you'll be able to temporarily use different guns and stuff like that. We'll just have to see, who knows. Looks like there's also some individual gun abilities. There was a scene where, spoiler for this video, not for the actual game, but you're on like the speeder bikes, and it looks like you can like do a sort of like Deadeye kind of thing, like a McCree ult from Overwatch. It's high noon and all that. Yeah, so that seems pretty cool. I imagine you'll probably have a skill tree which will sort of expand all of that kind of things. And also with the dog, Nyx, or we'll call it Axolotl dog, whatever. It looks like that's actually got quite a bit of usability in the game. Hold on, I'm just going to pause my recording 1 second. My silly dog is just, he needs something. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting there. But yeah, as I was saying, it's funny I'm speaking about dogs. My dogs are bothering me. Anyways, so it looks like the dog or Nyx is able to like distract and attack targets. He can activate machines, and as I said before, he can bring weapons to you. There's like a little scene where you can do sort of multiple things. It's like a little stealth section, so I imagine that dog or Nyx will be very useful in stealth missions, because you're able to like activate buttons and crap like that, and I'm sure that it's like maybe there's probably a skill tree attached to that as well. But I do like that they are actually like utilizing that as a play feature instead of just having it as like some little thing that just sort of follows you around and doesn't really do anything. Not to be rude, but my boy BD1 in Jedi Survivor, I feel like if you could maybe do a bit more of that kind of things, like stunning enemies, and look, I guess he could do stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, there's no real stealth in Jedi Survivor as well, but, you know, I feel like BD1 could have been used like that a little bit more, how they're using this dog, apparently, in this new game. So as I said before, there was the speeders that we saw, so I imagine you'll probably be able to use some vehicles. Whether that means you can only use your little speeder bike there, or you can use like cars that you can find around or something, you know, you can just Grand Theft Auto it, kind of, and just like get in some hover thing and fly off or something. So that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. With the scale of the game, I would imagine they probably only want you using like the one speeder, I would think. Then again, who's to say? There's not really all too much on that. At the end of the trailer, we see the character Kves get into a little ship of theirs, which I would imagine it's theirs. But it looks like you can fly from like ground to space, which is something that a lot of people are really, really excited about. Is the sort of vibe I've sort of gathered from that. And hey, I don't blame them, because I feel like, again, as I said before, this is a very sort of like first for Star Wars gaming. I know there was some like RPG thing a while ago called Star Wars Galaxies, and you could do stuff like that, but you know, we don't have that anymore, so let's just focus on the now. But yeah, so it looks like they sort of get in the ship and they fly off. Now, the only thing I have about that is I don't think it will be as flexible as I think people are making it out to be, just because when you take off, it sort of plays a bit of a cinematic and aims you up into the sky. So I don't know if that maybe means that like it, and they sort of stay in like one line while going up into the sky, like it's sort of almost like a loading screen, kind of like in disguise. So I sort of do worry a little bit about that. I feel like maybe we can't fly around planets, and it's more so you can fly around just above in space. Then if you like target a planet, you can fly down, then it will just auto land you at like the spaceport there. I doubt you'll have multiple spaceports on the same planet. As I said at the start, I have a feeling it'll probably just be like the worlds will be just like a small, or like I say small, it'll be a large area you can sort of walk around in, but I don't think you'll have like multiple sort of cities and stuff, maybe like little townships, things. I know there was like some like, I think they called it something Hope Ranch or something like that. But yeah, so I think that'll be cool, I guess, nonetheless, you know, a little bit limited, but that's okay. Like, it won't be Star Citizen level or Space Engineers level. If you're a regular in my audience, you'd know exactly what that means. But yeah, on the bright side though, there is like the space combat, which I don't know about you, but I thought it was a little bit sort of quiet. It didn't look very sort of like there wasn't much going on. The ship looked very sort of stationary, and it kind of just moved very, very like very weirdly. It's very hard to explain, but yeah. So I mean, you can shoot ships and that in space. It looks like we fight some TIE fighters and stuff like that. I don't know if I mentioned before, but it is sort of set in the original trilogy sort of era. I'm not sure if that's before, middle, or after during the trilogy. Not entirely sure, but yeah, that's pretty much all for that. At the end of the trailer, just after sort of like the little space fight, we see that it says like mission complete. So I imagine the story will consist of a bunch of different missions. Now, I don't know if that's going to be like Fallout, where there's going to be like heaps of missions and you just like meet random NPCs, or if it's just going to be like a linear sort of story, like go here, talk to this person, do this, sort of like God of War or anything like that. As well, in the trailer, the last thing that I'll talk about is that it looks like there's going to be like a wanted level. Again, I said Grand Theft Auto before. It's going to be sort of like GTA, I guess. Looks like you can get like a bounty on yourself. There's a cool like wanted visual, which I really, really liked. I thought that looked really, really clean and very sort of stylized. But yeah, so I imagine maybe when you, because that did seem to be attached to like the mission that they were doing, but I should hope that you can get a bounty on yourself for doing whatever at any time in the game, and then you can outrun the Empire or whoever's after you. It looks like there's going to be a lot of crime syndicates in the game. After all, it is called Star Wars Outlaws. We did see a Jabba the Hutt sort of person in a trailer from yesterday. That was just sort of like a story cinematic trailer. That didn't really tell us too much about the game, but yeah, look, I for one am looking forward to it. We've been waiting a while to hear about this game, so it's good that we finally have heard something about it. I believe it's coming out 2024. I'm not sure if there is a month release date sort of stated yet, but nonetheless, very cool to see what's in the works so far. I imagine the game will only be improved upon from when we've seen it. I for one would hope they would maybe add some more gun settings, like the different gun abilities and stuff like that. Not that we really saw much already. I'm sure there's heaps that they've already got there, which they just haven't shown us. But yeah, I just say the gun modes could maybe be shown off a little bit more. I hope they are. But yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed the video and you sort of want me to cover Star Wars Outlaws a little bit more, I'd love to do so. Just leave a comment down below. Make sure you like and all that sort of stuff. Tell me your thoughts on the trailer, because I'd be very interested to hear them. And if you have any sort of theories or anything, whatever, I'd love to hear it. I respond to all the comments. And I will be also doing a video on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora right after this one. I'm going to record it. I was going to do a 2-for-1, but I thought, nah, that's too big. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.